This month is all about sciatica. So today we're going to talk about stretching out the hamstrings in a standing position. Now we could do this on the mat as reclined extended hand to big toe. I like to always make sure we're working on a little strengthening as well. So what we're going to be doing is strengthening that standing leg by standing on it, because if someone has really weak glute min, glute med, TFL, glute max, the standing in the pose is going to give those just a little bit of work. We don't want to aggravate anything, but we want to make sure that we are strengthening according to kind of what we need at that point if we are really struggling with this issue. So I would have a strap handy. You're going to use a table or a chair or something that's at or below hip level. So we're going to come into this here, and we're really going to ground down through our standing leg. We're going to make sure we don't hyperextend the knee. We're going to engage the glutes a little on the standing leg, just like we were coming into tree or a single leg pose. So we're going to put our foot up here. Keep everything somewhat straight, and we can increase this. We're going to pull the toes towards the kneecap, pull the kneecap up towards the hip. So the sciatic nerve goes down the leg, and a lot of times with sciatica, people's hamstrings tend to kind of get pretty tight. So we'll keep the sternum lifted. We're not going to round forward. And if you need to do this by a wall, you could, but we're keeping this hip bone in the joint, and we're kind of bringing it down, letting it descend slightly. And we can even lead forward if that feels better. If you tend to hyperextend or you feel like you're bending too much, you could always change the height of what you're using, or you can put a little tiny bend in the knee. And again, pulling that kneecap up towards the quad is going to help activate this and help to not hyperextend as well. So we can be here as we come out of the stretch. Now, if we lean forward, we're bending at the hip. So we can bend the knee, come out. The other way we can utilize a strap is, I'm going to undo it here. We're going to loop this around through here. Now we're going to loop around our leg before we put it up there, and we're going to keep one end underneath our foot of the standing leg. So as we put, start over here. As we put this leg up, you can always wait. Maybe we undo it first. Put it up, and then we loop. We don't want to be falling over. We loop around here, and what this is going to do, and you can always kind of walk this down so it's not as on your leg. Like if you make sure you have some pants on or something, you can always put a washcloth or something under there, or put the buckle further down. Here is easy for adjustment though. So you can pull this just so there's slight tension, and that helps this hip to not pop up, helps keep it in the joint and to keep the hip kind of descending. And we'll pull the toes up as we stand, and we can even do a gentle bend in this knee if we need to. And it stabilizes everything a little bit. Like if you're kind of wobbly, I kind of like this, as long as it doesn't get in your way. And again, we're going to do a slight bend here, pull the kneecap up, activate the quad because we want the hamstring to release. So pull the toes up. And then to come out, you can just slide this down here, bend the knee and come out. Or you can undo it, either way. But I like this variation because it does encourage a little bit of strength building in the other side. Now, you could always just be here. If you're really tight, that's okay. That's totally fine. You could just be here, you could be against a wall. And then slowly straightening the leg. If you're here and you feel like they're just pulling, that's okay. Then don't go further into it. And then eventually, it will start to get easier. The key is consistency and not overdoing it all at once either. You want to make sure that you're consistent, and if the reclined version works better for you, then by all means, use that version. But we want to make sure toes are pointing forward, we're engaging the quads to lengthen through the hamstrings.